Oh my god!
Do you see it? Do you see
it?
Oh
my god! Holy shit! It's huge.
It's so funny, bro. It's like, whoa, the daughter is literally.
Wait, you can actually see her boyfriend in the car in the back.
The boyfriend.
Look.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Scary Movie Nights podcast, a bi-weekly podcast where the scares are real, but the friendships are realer. Today, we will be discussing the original Poltergeist, released in 1982. That's Mariana.
And that's Joanne.
And we are your hosts for the night. But first, Mariana, what had you falling into the TV this week?
This week, I think it was my students.
Okay.
Just being so real and acting their little butts off whenever my appraisers came into my classroom.
Oh my god, snaps for your students.
Yeah,
they're so real
They
for
were
that.
super on top of it. I mean, they saw people come in and they were like asking questions and everything.
They were think, pair, sharing.
They were.
Whoa.
I was whipping around in and everything.
Whipping.
They were. They really did. It was great.
I have not done a single whip around since I left.
Because why would you?
And it's fine. And it's actually fine.
Crazy.
Yeah.
What about you?
So what made me fall into the TV this week? I really... Actually, yeah. I'm going to go with my students again. Honestly, I really love teaching. I think teaching is great.
Yeah.
And like the students are truly 100% the only reason I have stayed in education as long as I have, probably like 9-ish, 10-ish years. Oof. But yeah, like they're a lot of fun. We're laughing. They
are fun.
So I love it. It's so much fun.
I think those are the only times wherever do you know like flow state? It's
like yoga?
No.
I'm like,
have you seen the Disney movie Soul?
Yes.
They like describe it really well. It's like where you're like really passionate about something, and when you do it, time just like flies by and you're like lost in it.
Flow state.
And the only times I've ever experienced that work is when I'm teaching and I'm having nice moments with the students.
Yeah.
I wish that there wasn't all this other added stuff to teaching.
Right. Well,
they're great.
The life of an educator.
They're fantastic. So.
Yeah, they're truly.
Shout out to my students.
Whoop, whoop, mine too. Yeah, for real.
Mm-hmm.
But enough about that. Let's cross the dimensions into the world of Poltergeist.
Let's jump into the TV.
Let's
dive first into the television.
You just have to make sure the Star Spangled Banner is playing first.
Yeah. Should we sing it?
Actually, I was I almost broke out into song even though I'm like, oh my god. Okay, so listener, just so you know, this is the pre-spoiler section. Now, this movie's been out for a while, so you probably have seen it, but just in case you have not, for myself, I recommend watching the movie just because it's such a classic.
And if you haven't, no judgment, because I didn't watch this movie until a couple months ago.
Like Scary Movie Nights?
Yeah, Scary Movie Night.
Yeah, Scary Movie Night, yeah. So, definitely watch it. But if you haven't, this is before we're going into spoilers. So this is just like our fun fact history segment of the podcast. Yeah, so take it away, Mar.
Okay, here's our no spoiler synopsis. I do have to credit ChatGPT for this one. So Poltergeist was released in 1982, and it is a supernatural horror film. It was directed by Tobe Hooper, and it was produced by Steven Spielberg.
Is it Tobe Hooper?
I don't know.
Is it Toby? Well, that's an interesting way.
Toby?
I don't know. Well,
no, that's so embarrassing.
Tobe. No, I have no idea. I'm gonna be quite honest with you.
Hooper.
Yeah,
Mr. Hooper. R.I.P. He's passed. The story follows the Freeling family who live in a quiet suburban home. Emphasis on the suburban, but soon discover that their house is haunted by a malevolent spirit.
I'm gonna put an emphasis on the Freeling.
You
see what I did there? Home of the Freelings.
Whoa, wait, that's crazy.
I'm just saying.
Whoa, do you think they did that on purpose?
Look. It's at this point, why not?
Yeah.
Like, you might as well go all in on the patriotism. Honestly, me too.
Initially, the paranormal activity manifests as a playful poltergeist phenomena, such as objects moving on their own and strange noises. However, things escalate when the spirit abducts their young daughter, Carol Ann, drawing the family into a terrifying struggle to rescue her. As they seek help from paranormal experts, they uncover the dark history of their home, leading to a climactic confrontation with the forces haunting them. The film explores themes of family, fear, the unknown, becoming a classic in the horror genre.
Exactly.
Yes.
And a classic in the hearts of Americans.
I was gonna do the eagle,
Yes, the yeah. Did you ever hear the
soundboard?
We need a soundboard for real. I'll just put it in post edit.
That's so funny. Wait, yeah.
I'll fix it and edit.
Make me look good in post. Okay. Okay. Well, the director Hooper, he actually also directed Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Work.
And The Funhouse. The movie was written by Steven Spielberg, Michael Grace, and Mark Victor, and it was from a story by Spielberg. So
do you know if it was a short story or what?
I think he kind of came up with it. Hold on. So, I think he came up with the idea as initially it was supposed to be a sequel to sort of, was it E.T.? I thought I wrote it down, but maybe I didn't. But
was it Aliens all along?
It was Aliens.
Aliens.
And it was Aliens initially, but because it was written by these three, people, and they kind of changed the story so that it was this paranormal story. And actually, Spielberg himself could not direct the movie because he was directing E.T. at the time. So there's a conflict of the contracts. But a lot of people do argue that he kind of co-directed this movie.
Imagine putting out two bangers,
dude,
bam, bam.
Yeah.
He was just you know what? I'm working on E.T. It's going to be fabulous. And I'm also working on whatever this is, the Poltergeist. Yeah.
Yeah. So this is a quote from co-producer Frank Marshall. He told the LA Times that the creative force of the movie was Steven. The director was on set every day, but Steven did the design for every storyboard, and he was on set almost every day except for 3 days when he was in Hawaii.
How does a human being do that?
Honestly,
I literally cannot imagine. I do three things. For those of you who have played Persona 5 Royal, which by the way is an amazing video game. In that video game, every day you get to do certain tasks, and you can do 3 things every day, which is school, crazy. One thing after school, and another in the evening or whatever. And it's that's me.
Wait, that's real as fuck.
I can literally do 3 things in a day, and I'm done.
It's what 4 things am I gonna do today?
What 4 things am I? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, for real.
My God, yeah.
That is so real. Now, for the movie, I think something that really sticks out, I don't think this is a spoiler, but is its special effects.
Ooh, for the time, right?
I want to talk about those more in a little bit. But they were produced by Industrial Light and Magic, and they actually won a BAFTA, which is a British Film and Television Awards, for Best Visual Effects, and it was actually nominated in that same category at the Academy Awards, but it did not win. This movie is set in California, and it was filmed in California. And I'll talk about some more of the awards for the film. It was nominated for 3 Academy Awards: Best Score, Best Sound Effects, and Best Visual Effects. It won the Best Visual Effects.
Well deserved.
Well deserved,
honestly.
For sure. I want to talk about those more in a little while because, I think we'll get to that later.
Okay. Oh, yeah, because of spoilers.
Well, not necessarily even. I guess I can talk about it.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's because I watched this movie literally a couple months ago, in 2024.
For the first time, yeah.
I think watching this movie in 2024 and seeing those visual effects, it's a lot less impactful than I think it would have been watching it in 1982 when the movie was released. So for me, when I see that, I'm they're so silly looking. The scene where
yeah, okay, well, let's... Okay, there's a scene. Okay.
There's a scene where stuff is happening and things are moving.
Oh yeah.
And like levitating and
in the room.
And it looks like really goofy.
It does look really goofy. It's like almost transparent.
Yes, it looks like you could do better on like Instagram Reels.
Yeah, I'm like, just put a string on that shit.
But
float it around.
Again, we are like judging it for like the time.
Right.
It also apparently won. It was on the Saturn Awards for Best Horror Thriller. It won for Best Makeup and Best Supporting Actress to Zelda Rubinstein, who's the like spiritual advisor that comes in there. Best Actress was also nominated Jo Beth, and Best Director and Best Music, but it did not win in those categories. Now, I want to get into some miscellaneous details.
Nice, okay.
You ready for that?
Yep.
I did want to have the... Merriam-Webster defines poltergeist. Although this is not Merriam-Webster, it's from Wikipedia. But in German folklore and ghost lore, a poltergeist is a type of ghost or spirit that is responsible for physical disturbances, like loud noises and objects moving or being destroyed. Most claims or fictional descriptions of poltergeist show them as being capable of pinching, biting, hitting, and tripping people. So they're pretty violent.
Yeah.
They like to get handsy. They're also able to like make objects levitate. Mm-hmm. They Wingardium Leviosa.
It
up
those
in
objects,
there.
yep.
They lift furniture and cutlery. They make noises like knocking on doors, and they are also associated with like foul smells, like stinky. They're stinkers.
Which interesting because most of those things did happen throughout the movie.
Yeah.
Obviously, like towards the very beginning when there was like a more of like a playful poltergeist activity stuff. Like there's a part where the mom
is it the chairs?
Yes, the chairs. So she notices the stacked up chairs, right? And then the husband comes home and she's like, Steve. She's so excited about this thing. She's like drawn this circle on the floor with arrows.
No, because her turning around, like she like pushes all the chairs in and she turns around and looks back and the chairs are in a pyramid. Like, I'm sorry, that was
comedy. So cool. That's so
comedy.
That's peak comedy. That's so funny. Yeah.
I like expected a laugh track or something. Yeah. I was like, that's so goofy. I think we'll talk about that more later.
Yes,
I think we might start to
sure.
get into some spoilers. Now, we were talking before we started filming about this movie being rated PG. Yeah. It was actually initially rated R, but Spielberg and Hooper disagreed and they like got it changed to PG on appeal. Which I don't know like how that process works.
Do you know if they had to edit parts of the movie out or they just put an appeal? Because I feel like the jump from R to PG is so far.
Yeah, I'm like at least PG-13 or something.
Yeah, I'm like, wait, so if it was the exact same movie and they got changed to PG, then like what's the MPAA doing? Like y'all need to get it together. Are there actual criteria?
This was in the 80s, so
I guess. I mean, I don't know.
I wasn't alive then. So
me
who am I to judge?
Yeah, exactly. That's a different time, different place.
So the movie is rated PG. So there has been several sequels and a remake. So there is a Poltergeist 2 and 3. Also in 2013, they announced a remake, and that was released in 2015. There's a lot of elements that stay true to the original. I read the plot and I watched the trailer, but I haven't seen it.
Okay. So I just read on the notes that it has a 29% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
That's like, isn't that like certified rotten or whatever?
Yeah, it's got 29. So Poltergeist, the OG first one, that one has 88% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Okay.
But the 2015 has 29% on Rotten Tomatoes. Also, apparently in 2023 they announced a show. But that hasn't released, obviously. So I don't know if that's in the works.
No, so okay, I'm gonna reference the episode 0 again and be like, okay, I am a general horror movie enjoyer. Yeah. So like, if it's a scary movie, I'm gonna be like, that's decent.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna be like, I was entertained.
Right. Unless, I mean, it's like really, really bad, then I'll be like, well, that was actually terrible, and I literally will never watch that again.
I want my money back. I want my time back.
And that very rarely happens.
Yeah.
So I felt like the remake of Poltergeist was really fun. myself,
Okay.
I enjoyed it. You know, am I gonna like tell people to watch the remake? No, not necessarily. But like, I felt like they did a good job. It had updated graphics.
Yeah.
And also it made a lot of cheeky references to the original that I felt like, whoa, like that actually really pays respect to the original movie, and it doesn't try to be like this. I don't know. It doesn't take itself too seriously, and I really enjoy that because it's just like, oh, this is lighthearted fun, and then also kind of scary. Like, you know?
I do like when you get a remake of an older film and you get to see modern elements in the remake. Like, I mean, I watched the trailer, but like their teenage daughter is like texting on her phone, and her phone does this like weird thing because of the Poltergeist.
Of course.
And I think it's like interesting to see like, oh, like what are some things that maybe some choices the director would have made if he'd made this movie in 2024 instead of 82, as far as technology goes and all of these things.
Right.
Like maybe there would be like, I don't know, a Tesla. That's like
Tesla.
The Poltergeist takes over the Tesla and like backs into someone. Or, I don't know.
Oh no. Or it starts playing Jingle Bells.
Yeah, it starts doing some weird stuff.
Randomly. The teenage daughter, by the way, in this movie, like cracked me up.
Oh,
we're gonna talk about her.
Speaking of the teenage daughter, so her name is Dana Freeling, and she is played by Dominique Dunn. And there's a lot of, I guess, conversation around this film. What is it with these old films where they're cursed, they're haunted? So there's also like a lot about this movie being cursed. I'll skip to the next one and then I'll come back to it. But that has spoilers. The film. Should I talk about this? Should I talk about the skeletons in the closet? The skeletons in the pool?
I mean, I think
so. There are skeletons in this movie, and they use real skeletons.
Yeah. Okay.
Like from real people.
Right.
And there's also a couple of deaths of actors that were in these films, and Dominique Dunn was one of them, and she actually died the year that this movie was released.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Oh my God, she was so young.
Yeah, she was really young, and she actually was the victim of femicide. So she had broken up with her boyfriend, and he showed up at her house and like strangled her. She was 22.
That's so sad.
I know. And then Heather, who played Carol Ann, she actually died while filming Poltergeist 3. So it's not like they were on set or anything, but apparently she was misdiagnosed with like Crohn's disease, and it turned out to be stenosis of the intestines. So I think her intestines were like tightened up. I don't know what happened, but she actually had like cardiac arrest.
Oh yeah.
And they were able to
probably like blood vessels pinched or something.
Yeah, but it was her intestines.
Yeah, okay.
And they were able to bring her back, but then she got taken to the hospital. They did surgery, and she went into cardiac arrest again, and she passed away. And she was 12, so that was really
oh my gosh,
really sad.
That's heavy.
There's also
That's
two
horrible.
other actors who played sort of more minor roles in the Poltergeist 2 and 3 films that also died. So there is like conversation around this movie being cursed because of those reasons.
I don't know what to think about that. You know, like, you made an interesting point earlier about like, what's up with these older movies and like people always saying they're cursed.
Yeah.
And I almost want to think it's like a product of the times.
I agree.
Of like people not being used to talking about demonic presences, supernatural activity. And then they just assume like, oh, that's like the devil's work, and so like the movie must be cursed. Yeah. Whereas now I feel like you don't really hear about that very much, and you deal with some very heavy content in horror movies, and I mean, people are almost like brush it off. You know what I mean?
And,
like
and this movie kind of sits around, and even The Exorcist around like Satanic Panic, which was a really big deal.
Yes.
In the 70s and 80s.
Oh, Satanic Panic is such an interesting,
so interesting,
such an interesting concept.
But also, I think something we talked about when we did our Exorcist episode was how maybe back then when these films were being, produced, there wasn't like the regulations we have now for how you have to shoot a film and how you have to treat your actors and your extras and all these things.
Yeah, I wonder if like the Actors Guild, like the unions and stuff were around back then.
Yeah, I really don't know, and I did not research it.
Oh, yeah, no, I don't expect you to.
But I think that is pretty interesting. Now, the skeletons in the movie are real. And I think I'm going to save this one actually for when we are talking with spoilers, because I think this is pretty spoilerful, actually.
Honestly, I think that's good, yeah.
Yeah. Is that a good segue?
I think so. Into spoilers.
Spoilers?
Yes. So... before we move on to the next section, listener, if you haven't watched this movie but you think you will, make sure that you stop listening, pause the podcast, go watch the movie real quick, a quick 2 hours, and then come back and listen to the rest of the podcast. Or if you don't care about spoilers, then
go on ahead.
Listen on. So beware, there are spoilers ahead.
Okay, great.
Skeletons.
That's freaking skeletons. Okay. These skeletons were real in the pool.
That's crazy.
So allegedly, it was cheaper to just use these real skeletons. Can you imagine being in a movie like the Poltergeist, but it's your skeleton.
It's your skeleton. Imagine like having acted your entire life and like you never got that big break and you've always worked so and nobody believed in you. Everyone's like, you should just give up, Joanne. You're never going to make it as an actor. And then you're like, I will make it, and then you freaking die.
I'm gonna work with Spielberg.
And then you freaking die, and they like exhume your body or whatever it is that they did to put you in this freaking movie.
They were just dying to be on the big screen. Like, it's crazy. I have a quote from an interview with Jo Beth, who played Diane Freeling. She said that this sequence took probably 4 or 5 days to shoot. So she was sitting in like mud, and because in the movie the family's building a pool, so they're like digging out the pool, which, by the way, like the workers that are digging out the pool, like there's one point where they're like hitting on their teenage daughter,
literally, and then the mom just like oh, that's how men are. Well, like, I love the girl, like, basically flicks them off. She's just like yeah. And they're like, oh, yeah. And then mom just, like, is looking at the window like, oh. I'm like, what the frick?
Girl,
like,
what are you
those
doing?
men
Your
would be out so fast. That's crazy. But then, again, that's a different time, right?
For sure.
People dealt with that kind of stuff differently.
Absolutely.
Unless it was something that the director was trying to say. But I don't think it was.
I don't know, So they were digging out the pool, and towards the end of the film, she goes into the pool and these skeletons are popping out of the ground because the house was built on a cemetery. They moved the gravestones, but not the actual
not the
graves. Bodies. So she is imagine spending 4 or 5 days in like a mud pool with real skeletons. I think she didn't know that they were real skeletons at the time. She said she assumed they were not real skeletons. She assumed they were prop skeletons made out of plastic or rubber. And then she found out, as did the whole crew, that they were using real skeletons because it's far too expensive to make fake skeletons out of rubber. And I think everybody got real creeped out by the idea of that. Now, this was never confirmed by the director or by Steven Spielberg himself.
Oh, okay.
And I will say, real skeletons are not cheap. I don't know if things were different at the time or where they sourced these skeletons from.
They just went to the graveyard and were like, start digging.
Honestly, maybe. Because, I teach science, I teach biology, and I have a real skeleton in my classroom. It's a man. He sits in my back room because the kids can't handle it. Sorry, students. They honestly, like, they will freak out whenever I tell them it's real. So I just put him away. It's less distractions.
That's the first thing I would tell them.
On his pelvis, like, it's like the brand, the company.
Oh my God, they branded his skeleton.
Yeah, it's like the company. And so, like, out of curiosity, one day I just like looked them up, and I mean they range from like $5,000 to $7,000. So like it's not cheap to like procure a skeleton, a real one.
But I wonder, I wonder if like skeletons like the one you have, those are like preserved especially for
the classroom,
that. So maybe that's
purposes.
And I'm sure they like clean it and maybe even paint it because.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what your skeleton looks like.
I don't know anything about skeletons other than the fact that there's one inside of me.
Yeah.
End of year.
That's true.
Isn't that crazy?
Well, I've never consented to that. So.
What are you doing?
Yeah, no, that's actually insane that they used real. I mean, okay, so it's never been confirmed. So I will take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah.
Because it sounds insane.
I also didn't research that hard.
Yeah.
So.
You didn't deep dive into the skeleton situation. It's okay.
That's going to be a running theme.
It's a literally, yeah. Very on the surface research fun facts.
Honestly, like if it doesn't come up in the first page,
literally,
Google, like
you know what?
Listen,
girl, I do not blame you for that, but that's. I think Spielberg needs to speak up about this issue. Spielberg, hello. Is Spielberg in the room with us now?
I was about to say that way. You read my mind. That's crazy. I was gonna say that.
So I kind of want to go back to towards the beginning. So the movie literally opens with the Star Spangled Banner, the anthem, and I'm like, at first I thought it was a little. I was like, this is freaking weird, and then. But the more I watched the movie, the more I realized I just want to bring this point back because the American themes throughout the movie, this is truly an American theme and huge. Yeah, it's a hugely American. American. And by the way, if you're not watching on YouTube, our mics are color coordinated with the flag of the blue. United States of America. These colors. These colors don't run. Don't run, baby. They don't run. So
wait, my favorite part is that neither of us were born here.
Girl,
we are naturalized.
That's
citizens.
True. Well, not me, not yet.
Oh,
but
very
December
soon.
11th is my oth ceremony. So save the date. Y'all gotta take a shot on that day for me. All right, all of y'all. If you're over 21. So it starts with the Star Spangled Banner. Okay, and then TV, which is I think something almost inherently American. Obviously there's TVs across the world, but I really think TV culture in the U.S. No one does TV culture like the U.S. does TV culture.
Agreed. And then your husband pointed out something really interesting that I didn't know, but did y'all know that TV would just end? They would just
there's just no more TV.
They would just stop playing shows on TV, and apparently at the end they would play the Star Spangled Banner. And so that's gotta be
a thing.
They were going for.
Yeah.
And when it
I wonder what time. I wonder if it was
Star Spangled Banner, and then it's static, TV static.
Yeah.
What you're watching.
Do you remember, Brian? I'm just gonna ask you off camera.
We're gonna phone
Brian in right here real quick.
Come in, Brian.
Brian, what time did they end TV?
It was late.
Would you say 3 a.m.?
Oh, nowhere near that late. It was midnight.
Oh,
okay.
Girl, that's okay. I guess they didn't have infomercials at the end.
I can't imagine that. I was at 3 a.m. watching George Lopez.
Hello, yeah, me too. What is life without TV at 3 a.m.?
Between midnight and 1 a.m.
Oh, between midnight and 1 a.m. Okay, so
the witching hour.
The witching hour.
No,
I love that. No, I think that's the witching hour, right?
I thought it was 3.
That's the unholy inversion of the Trinity, but maybe that is the witching hour because whatever. So anyway. It was late, and I think that was why they put that. It's it's late. There's no more TV.
Go to bed,
it's the Star Spangled Banner. Yeah, and dream of the flag and eagles. And freedom also. Golden Retriever. So that's the very American, especially back in the day, cookie cutter, white fence,
and the suburbs.
Golden Retriever.
Absolutely.
Shots of suburban America.
The kids playing outside.
The kids playing watching football.
Drinking beer.
You got the kids sitting on the doing
curb,
with the RC cars
yeah.
And also, by the way, those kids, first of all, little assholes that they are, totally could have killed that guy because bicycle accidents are real. Okay, they're real. But he just ends up dropping the beer.
He was not wearing a helmet either.
He wasn't wearing a helmet. And then he picks up the beer that is spritzing out because he just dropped this whole
yeah.
It was two cases of beer.
And he leaves half of them because he's trying to catch the game. Why didn't they plan ahead?
Why didn't you plan ahead?
Why didn't they get beer ahead
also,
of them
girl,
before the game?
Take a car. There's so many cars in that driveway because everyone's there. I'm
he was already drunk. You know?
Well, Yeah, and there was no Uber Eats or Favor. There no.
They didn't.
Where were the apps?
They didn't DoorDash back then.
They didn't DoorDash back then. So
that's crazy.
So okay, football, and then the dad's like reading a book about Reagan.
Yeah.
As well, like like politics in America.
Yeah.
And then like the creepy clown doll.
Yeah.
Is wearing a red, white, and blue outfit.
Doll.
And it's just there's so many things like throughout the movie that are just like America, 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 America.
So clearly this suburban family.
Yeah, and they really wanted to establish
suburban family.
This nice
and
suburban.
Then there's the scene of the parents just smoking weed in their bedroom.
Straight up. And he's like trying to roll a joint and he can't do it. He's like, just do that for me. Just do it. And he drops all this weed on the bed. I was like, bro.
It's crazy. What? Honestly, like that was shocking, and I thought it was interesting that it's not negatively portrayed. And I love that the parents in this movie seem to really like each other.
Oh, I love the parents.
They like each other.
I love the parents so much. Yeah, and they actually seem like really good parents. Yes. Like the kids, the boy, what's his name again? Ben. No, not Ben. Ben's the Robbie, there you go. Ben's the neighbor. Name. Robbie, Robbie. He comes in because he's like scared of the lightning and the thunder or whatever, and that's like, oh, I'll give you a piggyback ride. Like they're very patient with their kids. You can tell like they seem like very, very good parents.
Yeah, I have to agree. I also love there's a scene where the kids have a bird in their room.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And I have the quote, but the mom's like, "Oh shit, Tweety, couldn't you have waited for a school day?" That's so funny.
That's so me too, though.
That's so funny.
That's literally so me.
And then they have to host the little Tweety funeral.
Yeah, the Tweety funeral. And then she immediately gets over it. Can I have a goldfish now? And was like,
she gets two, and they're Tweety 1 and Tweety 2.
And then she starts like overfeeding them. She's just like, come and get it, come and get it, come and get it.
And the mom's like, they're gonna die. No, actually, she was cute too. She was like, you know what happens to goldfish when you overfeed them?
Yeah. They turn into sharks. It was so cute. It was cute. I love that.
It really is good at establishing them as like this normal, like loving family. They've got like a teenager who's like, she's not super involved, and like I think for some of the movies she's like at a friend's house and stuff like
literally that. They're like, she's spending a lot of time with friends, and it's just like you don't freaking see her at all. You see her like during the whole haunting process. You see her maybe once or twice, and one of the times you see her is when Carol Ann's missing, and she's like freaking out. She's like, and like making like the huge super dramatic traumatic like scary movie face.
Which is like so teenager.
It's so teen. I'm like, girl, your sister was just kidnapped by evil spirits. Like, calm down.
Yeah. Now, speaking of the sister, Carol Ann, this little girl immediately starts talking to ghosts on the TV.
The TV people.
The TV.
I was like, okay.
Oh my god.
If my child did that, I would. Never mind.
Well, no, wait, say it.
It's like I'd put him up for adoption, but that would not be an option if I had a child.
No, I would throw the TV out. I'd be like, no more TV, Carol Ann.
No more TV people.
Stop.
I'll call the Avengers of Exorcism immediately. The priest, the Baptist preacher, the voodoo, the coexist exorcism team.
Wait, whenever you first said Avengers of Exorcism, immediately I thought of the Warrens.
The Warrens?
Are they not?
I mean, yeah.
There's a Conjuring cinematic universe. Like,
yes, correct. You're right.
They're absolutely the Avengers.
You're right. They are the Avengers of Exorcism. Wow, I never thought about that.
Yeah.
I love that the mom at first really starts to really appreciates the poltergeist just for being fun.
She's so excited.
She's so excited. At one point when she shows Steve the how she's like moving the chair or whatever, she literally jumps up, and then she's like,
I know. She like, I was like, she does like a little star. She's so excited, so funny.
She's so cute.
I like distinctly remember that
too. She puts a football helmet on Carol Ann and puts her in the circle,
which is so irresponsible.
I'm so funny though, but it's so funny.
That's so like old school.
Old school, yeah. Like
the opposite of helicopter parenting.
Rub some dirt in your whatchamacallit, the what's this thing you get here when you get your stuff cut out?
The wound, the scab, the scar,
No, in your intestines it blows up.
The stoma? What?
Asking a biologist general questions is literally the worst. Appendicitis. Oh. It's like rub some dirt on your appendicitis.
Oh my god.
It's like
reach inside of yourself and rub dirt on your appendix.
You can do anything you set your mind to. So it's very fun. By the way, side note. Have you seen, I think I sent it to you earlier, but you might not have seen it. It's the SNL skit that's called it's called Dad Crush or something like that, where one of the all the girls are playing teenagers, and then Ryan Gosling is like the dad of one of the teenagers, and they're at a sleepover, and then he comes down and he says, "Hey girls, hey, that's my little girl," and then one of the girls is like, "Oh hey, Mr. Da da da." I'm like, the dad in Poltergeist has me feeling a certain type of way, and it's not even like I don't necessarily find him attractive, but it's kind of like your best friend's, like your friend's dad. That's like, okay, Mr. Freeling.
Like, okay, he's reading about Reagan. Like,
okay, wait.
Okay, he's smart.
You might take away my rights, but hello.
It's so funny.
Yeah, it's anyway. I just had to geek out about the dad for a bit because when I was watching it, I was like, wait, am I?
Hold on a minute.
Dad?
Dad? Why? I feel like a couple of our episodes we've talked about like intestine stuff, and then also like hot like dad, like Daddy Demi.
Why is it Daddy Demi? Daddy Chatty? What the hell is even that? So I love the way that they made a lot of things look creepy. The tree.
Okay, the tree.
The tree actually looked like it had faces on it. Did you see? Did you notice that?
No, I did. I have feelings about the tree. I don't like that the tree is portrayed negatively.
Literal tree hugger alert.
Trees are great, and we were talking with Logan, my partner, my husband.
Trees are great. Trees are great.
We were like, the Ents would never. Do you know the Ents?
Yes, the Ents. Yes.
The Ents would never. They're kind. They're a little curmudgeonly, but they wouldn't eat a child. But I feel like
unless they're really, really hungry.
Unless they're just really hungry. But I feel like with the movie, everything felt very like exaggerated, and
for sure,
that's why it felt so like comedic. Like the part with the chairs when they formed the pyramid, like
so funny.
I wouldn't be surprised if that was in like a scary movie, like these scary movies, like the ones with Anna Faris, like that's so silly and goofy. Like,
well, they did base the Scary Movie 2 off of Poltergeist, basically.
Yeah. Well, I haven't. So we started watching Scary Movie a week ago or something. I fell asleep.
I was
really tired, but the movie's like so funny.
They're so funny.
I recently watched it was like a clip from one of the movies, and it's actually got Charlie Sheen, and he's talking to a cop, and the cop's hat just keeps getting bigger and bigger. Like, every time it goes back to her, it's like bigger, and she's trying to get out
in the car.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's just like exaggerated, and the whole tree thing, like, you know, I'm gonna say it probably every episode forever, but I feel like in order for me to maximum enjoy a scary movie or a movie in general, I have to feel like I'm in it. And I feel like all the goofiness of this stuff kind of took me out of it. And the biggest thing that did that was the tree, because I'm like, how, like, the tree literally, like, at one point, like, opens its mouth and it's like swallowing this child.
Yeah,
and, like,
literally.
Robbie is being pulled into the tree.
Yeah, and he even says, "It's eating me! It's eating me!" Yeah.
That part
and that's like climbing the tree.
That's trying to,
Dude, that fall was actually terrible. Like, when because he gets him out, but they fall. I was like, ouch.
And then the trees, like, there's like a freaking tornado, and the trees being like pulled into the tornado,
like a
but
darkness
it grabs
tornado.
Robbie.
Yeah,
it's crazy. And that's where Carol Ann, like, you know, goes missing. I should have researched this, but how did they do the scene where everything gets sucked into the closet? Like, did they have a bunch of fishing wire attached to every single item in that room and just start pulling
Probably.
it in? Because it was crazy. It's like a big vacuum.
Yeah.
I did read that the way that they made the light in the closet, they had, like, apparently, like, fish tanks with water in there to, like, make the light look alive or something crazy.
Whoa.
Like that.
Oh, because the fish would block the light and they would be like...
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that there was even fish. I think it was just, like, water reflecting. I don't know.
Okay.
I read it briefly. Like I mentioned earlier, my research is... very surface level.
A couple of more American things I know.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. This might be a little social commentary on like maybe the not so great parts about being American.
Hit us with it.
So when Carol Ann is staring at the TV, they're like in the kitchen or something. Yeah. She's like staring at the TV, the static, and Mom just goes, honey, you can't watch that like that. You're gonna hurt your eyes. But then she like changes the channel and it's like a war movie. They're like shooting each other and like she like switches and like Carol Ann's just still watching the movie. Oh my god! I'm like, okay. Whoa. That's like the a little social commentary on how like violence is more acceptable than like literally anything else. Like especially in America. I thought that was just very interesting how he did that. With that specific scene, I thought it was hilarious.
That is so funny.
There's also...
Just Carol Ann in general is so funny.
She's so cute.
She's adorable.
Oh, with the little bang, with her bangs.
She's so cute. And she's just like talking to her little friends in the TV.
I know, she's just chilling.
Yeah, and then she gets like sucked into the closet.
Whoa. Yeah. Rude. So, another thing that Diane tells Steve, so like the mom tells the dad... Mm-hmm. When she brings him in to show him the chair trick that she did, she said, I want you to think about our past when we used to have an open mind.
Y'all smoke weed all the time in your bedroom, like with your children in the house. Like, what do you mean?
She's like, just think about our past. I was like, wow, that's also social commentary on becoming more close-minded as you grow older.
These people were like wild when they were young.
Oh, like, for sure. They went to
Woodstock.
Like, as tall as he is, that boy was trouble. You know it.
That's really funny.
And then when they're talking to... adding to the comedy part of it, when they're talking to like the initial reporters, the person,
like investigators,
the parapsychology person or whatever she's called, she says something like, there's many steps in the determination of a haunting and we can't quite do that yet, and the freaking pot of coffee moves by itself across the table and she watches it go. She goes, so, we have to do more tests.
It's so funny. And, like, literally a little bit before that, they're, like, the investigators are telling the dad, they're like, yeah, like, we got this RC car, like, moving across a room over the span of 8 hours. And then they open the room to the door, the door to the room, and everything is flying around. They're just
and there's like attacking them.
That's what I was talking about earlier with like
the special effects.
The special effects.
Yeah, because now that room used to be Carol Ann's and Robbie's room, and that's where like the haunting really got out of control with the closet, and now everything is floating in the room.
And like whenever they do that, like several items kind of fly in front of them, and there's like a lamp, and they like screw a light bulb into the lamp,
and it turns on.
Like that's so random.
Cheesy.
But I love that they included all of those little details. Like I really love in movies and in general life when you notice tiny things, and it's kind of endearing to see that someone thought of those tiny things and wanted to include them, even though they didn't need to. Like, they didn't need to screw the light bulb on the lamp.
They didn't.
And for it to turn it on.
They really didn't.
But I love details like that.
It's really cute. So, a little bit after, they're, like, the investigators are basically living in the house with them. And I one of the reasons I love this movie is it's got a little bit of everything. It's got a little comedy.
It's got it all.
It's got it.
It's everything.
Hot. New York's hottest club is Poltergeist. So it's got a little bit of comedy. It's got a little bit of supernatural horror.
Yeah.
It's got a little bit of body horror too.
Yeah.
So when one of the reporters goes into the bathroom and starts hallucinating that his face is melting off.
He's literally like ripping his skin off. It's crazy.
He's ripping
himself like a banana.
I mean, that was crazy. And like the fact that this movie has a PG rating, I could not imagine showing young children this movie, because that part alone is crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, kids would have nightmares, I think.
Yeah.
And so I love that. I'm like, I love the body horror in that moment, because it's so in your face.
Yeah.
And it's actually good special effects, I think.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It looks like almost like claymation-y. I love
it. I mean, this was what 1982?
Yeah.
So for 1982, that type of, I mean, it was good. I mean, now it might look a little hokey or whatever, but back then I'm sure it was like, whoa.
I mean, I've been mentioning the special effects a lot, but I can still appreciate them, and I can still appreciate the movie. Even though, like, to me, since I watched it this year, like, it's just a little silly, but I really did love the movie. There's just so many really cool elements, and it feels like so holistic. Like, they thought of all of it.
Yes.
They thought of everything.
It has everything. What did you think about the psychic?
I love her.
Iconic.
I love her.
Truly iconic. I love her.
She's that bitch.
She is.
She comes in and she's like, "Why is this room closed?"
Yes.
And her voice.
Yeah, and then awesome. when the dad starts thinking his answer, and then he said, "Oh well, I was just trying to trick her," or something like that, and she was like, "I heard you. I just didn't like to be tricked," or like, I don't like tricky answers or whatever. And she like responds with what he was actually thinking or whispering to them. And it was like, she might be legit. She might be legit.
I think her voice and like the inflection of her voice makes everything so creepy. And as she's like explaining everything, and she's like, these spirits are attracted to Carol Ann's life force. And it's like,
which, by the way, is totally where James Wan got the idea for Insidious.
Really?
Like, I don't have confirmation about this. Okay, me and him don't text.
Is James Wan in the room?
That's right. To confirm. James Wan?
James?
We need you to confirm. No, but the psychic is talking about how the spirits from the other side are attracted to Carol Ann's life force. Yeah. She's like a bright light, you know, on her side, on that side where she's at. They're going to be chasing her, da-da-da-da-da. I mean, right down to the door, like opening the door to the next dimension, or like to the closet or to the room. Yeah. I truly feel like James Wan took that idea and kind of ran with it in Insidious, because that's literally what Insidious is. I mean, it's like a demon that's chasing someone's light and like wants to take their life force away. And then when they go to the other side, I forget what it's called. It's the dark side, the dark.
Sorry, that's the name of the movie.
The darkness. Anyway, when they go to the other side, they have a light with them. It's a little lantern. Yeah. And the dead spirits are attracted to that light.
Whoa.
So I definitely saw a correlation here. Again, I do not have confirmation of this, and I have not researched this, but I would be surprised if James Wan did not get inspiration for his movies from this. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
Another correlation within the movie that I noticed, so the psychic was talking about how Carol Ann, when she was hearing the voices from this like demon or whatever is like haunting
the beast.
The beast is what she calls it, the beast. It was just like another child to her.
Yeah.
Right? So she thought she was talking to another kid.
She was just like, I'm a pen pal, actually, Mom.
Literally. Yeah, pen pal from the other side.
Yeah.
So, and it's really interesting because at one point when the mom goes into the portal, the psychic gets like possessed. Yeah. By the beast, because she starts talking about like, go into the light, all are welcome. Yeah. And the dad starts talking to her like she's still the psychic, like, wait, but you said don't go into the light, da 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 da. And I thought that was interesting. He is talking to the demon as if she was just another adult. Yeah. So the demon clearly like presents itself in different ways, right, to different people. and plays on the trust of those people.
Yeah.
Which I thought was very interesting. So Carol Ann thought she was talking to a child.
Yeah, who's
Steve.
more vulnerable than a child?
Right.
Like, if when you're a kid, you, like, take everything at face value. You're like, oh, you're another 13-year-old girl, like, on Omegle. Like, wow.
Oh, God.
What are the odds?
Yeah,
you
that's
also
so
like
creepy.
One Direction? Crazy.
Whoa, me too. I love them.
Wow.
Ew.
And you promise you're not a 48-year-old man?
I mean... I'm so uncomfortable.
You're not actually a demon from hell.
Oh, yeah. Cross my heart.
Okay.
Scout's honor. Bringing it back to America. So, America. And, you know, adding on to a little bit of that, you know, you talked about being vulnerable. The dad... So this was, first of all, I really feel... Well, I'll talk about this later, actually, in the good part of it. Mm-hmm. But it was kind of a movie about women, supporting women, if you really think about it, because Carol Ann, she's a girl. Yeah. She's basically the main focus, right?
You know that.
I'm not saying, and the mom's the one who went in and got her. The mom's in the house when the haunting happens like a third freaking time, right? The psychic is a woman.
And
the mom
and the parapsychologist
is a woman, and she's like supporting the mom, and it's just like such a great movie. And you know, the dad, I feel like the dad is in a very vulnerable place because he can do nothing to help to protect his family.
And he kind of starts falling apart. And
he also starts falling apart.
The mom is the one who goes in to save
exactly.
Anne, which, by the way, I would have never done. Maybe it's because I'm not a mother, but that is scary. And it was like all that ectoplasm or whatever was gooey and gross. And I'm sorry, Carol Ann. Like,
and I'm gonna be honest. So she came out of that with those like white streaks in her hair.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, that's a cool freaking look. And then she goes and dyes her hair. I'm like, girl, that's a blessing.
Real.
Be for real right now.
You were talking about women, and have you heard that audio? That's like, I think it's from South Park. That's like, number 1, she's a girl. Number 2, she's not a boy. Number 3, she's a girl. That's how I feel about going to the OBGYN.
Facts.
Honestly, like, I don't understand men who become OBGYN. Like, I'm sorry. Like, yeah, that's just my personal opinion. And
if I was a woman, I probably would not go to a male OBGYN, to be quite honest with you.
I haven't and I won't. I just want someone who has the same machinery.
Right. No, I think that's totally fair because... you know,
not that you necessarily have to have that machinery to be a woman, obviously, or to identify as a woman.
Yeah, very true.
If you identify as a man, I don't want you down there in my bits.
Right.
You know?
That's totally fine.
That's just my personal opinion. Y'all
that's
my
opinion.
That's my opinion.
So going back a little bit to like the dad, it's definitely, you know, because we're talking about like Americana, and a lot of this movie is actually breaking down those American stereotypes too, because for me, and this is going way too deep, and I could be so very, very wrong about this, but it's almost an allegory to like American colonialism to where like the suburban American family moves into these like grave sites, basically takes over this land without the consent of the people, quote unquote, who are already there, and then the people fight back against the American families who are there. So it's like, for me, you know, like I said, I might be reading way too much into this to where it's like they were just trying to make a fun Poltergeist film, but like, but on this, it's just so in your face American that it's just hard for me not to think about colonialism in that way. What do you think about that? Am I wrong? Can you see it?
I can totally see it now that you've brought it up. Like the whole suburban idealistic like American neighborhood like on top of this graveyard, this cemetery, like I can totally see it. And
at one point they do talk about like sacred Native American grounds, and like it almost makes me wonder if that is sacred ground to Native Americans, you know what I mean? And so that kind of adds on to that argument about colonialism, etc. But to go farther into like the breaking down of some of those societal American norms, the father is supposed to be the protector, and yet he is not able to play his role basically through the ending of the film. The only time he really, he definitely tries.
Yeah.
And he definitely is there. And like at one point, the psychic is like, which one of you does she fear the most? And the mom's like, well, neither of us. And she's like, argue about it later. Dad, come and get your daughter. And she's like, tell her you're gonna spank her. And he's like, well, I've never spanked the children. And she's like, you'll never see her again. Like, and so, you kind of see those like roles kind of trying to play out, but then it's kind of I don't know, it's like a subversion almost, or like a difficult choice of like, which roles can I play and do I play? I really enjoyed that part of the film. And I don't know, just food for thought, I guess.
Think even like the scene that you discussed earlier where the little boy like can't sleep and they like, he comes into the parents' room, it's the dad that tucks him back into bed.
I see, yeah. Like he is like the caretaker.
In movies, usually it's like the mom.
Right.
Who like traditionally goes and does the tucking into bed for the children.
Yeah, that's very true.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of in-your-face American values and then the subversion of those typical American values. And I don't know, I just enjoy the film. I think it can get deep if you really wanted to, and obviously art can be consumed in many different ways. So maybe if that's not something the director really planned to put in the movie, that's kind of what I don't know. It just made me think.
Like, love the way your mind works, because you always come up with these things and you're like, oh, like that was totally a metaphor for this. And I'm like, I thought this was just a movie about a ghost.
But boo.
But
I like the ghost.
I hardly ever think about it in like a really deep way. Like, to be completely honest, we watched Hereditary recently, and we walked out of Hereditary and you were like, yeah, like this is totally about generational trauma. And I was like, I thought this was about Paimon. So I love that you think that way.
So to get a little lighter, towards the end, I don't know if you noticed this. Hold on, wait. Okay, so when the house is literally being sucked into the
ground,
the black
vortex,
hole or whatever, the vortex, the teenage daughter, first of all, has not been on camera for like like, where is she? Did you forget about her? And maybe that's another thing that the director is trying to say, that we maybe care too much for our younger children, but then once they start growing up, we care less and less, or not necessarily that we care less, but it's difficult to tell how much independence to give them.
Yes,
you know what I mean? Sure. Because she shows up screaming with the biggest hickey you have ever seen in your life.
This movie really
have you seen it? Have you seen? Do you remember seeing that?
Show me.
I literally. You know what? I will.
I'm gonna look it up right now.
I will put literally. It's so crazy. I was like, honey, what did you get? I'm like, wait, did you get choked or is that? But it's only on one side.
Hold on, Google
now. Okay, Poltergeist, teenage hickey or something. I don't know, because she had the biggest hickey. And she's like screaming, being so dramatic that their house is literally being swallowed up by the void, and she. It's literal comedy.
Wait, it's not. Oh wait! Oh my god!
Do you see it?
My god! Holy shit! It's huge.
It's so funny, bro. It's like, whoa! The daughter is literally.
Wait, you can actually see her boyfriend in the car in the back.
The boyfriend.
Look, he's like,
He's like, well, I'm really glad that their house is getting swallowed by the void, because I'd be hearing about that hickey right about now.
That is so funny. Is
they'll be way more mad about the house than they will the hickeys. So this works out for me.
Wait, that's so funny.
Oh my god. Anyway, just kind of wanted to end it with a little bit. So let's do our good, bad, and the spooky.
Yes.
Yeah, so we can wrap it up. Let's see.
Honestly, I've talked a lot about my good, just throughout the duration of the podcast. Would you like to go first for the good?
Sure. So for me, I also talked a little bit about it, as far as like that women supporting women thing. I honestly felt this was a very not necessarily feminist film, but I think it portrayed women as very strong role models and like supporting each other, which I actually really, really loved. I think the movie is really good, by the way. Okay. I love that the supernatural stuff starts pretty much right away.
Yeah.
And then it just gets worse.
Yes.
And then there's house gets swallowed up by like a black hole. That's crazy. I love that so much because it's so fantastical, you know? The characters are great.
I love the characters.
The characters are wonderful.
I love the characters.
I love them all.
And I really loved like the aesthetic, the like whole like Americana. Like I loved it.
Me too.
I love that about it, and I love the medium. She's fantastic.
She's so great.
How do you say her name? Tangina? I don't know.
Tangine? I don't know. I don't know how it's spelled. I don't have it in front of me.
Yeah, I'm so, wait. Can we cut this?
However you pronounce her name, work queen.
But I love her. I think she kind of made the movie.
Honestly, I agree. I feel really like the movie does not start until she comes in.
Valid.
The movie truly does not start until then.
And she comes in pretty like.
Yeah, it's like maybe after halfway.
After halfway, for sure.
What about the bad? What's your bad?
Okay, one thing I really don't like in movies, I hate when they, like, defeat the evil, and then it's like, but wait, it's not gone. I freaking hate that trope. I'm so sorry.
I feel like this happened twice in this movie.
They go through so much, finally, like, they do it, they get it done, and then, nope, actually, no. Like, I watched recently Smile, and
I love
such a good movie, but at the end, she goes to the...
Wait, spoilers for Smile.
Spoilers for Smile. She goes to an empty house and she's like trying to defeat this like evil thing, and
actually she kicks ass.
She does.
She's like kicking ass, and she's like
does.
Yeah.
And then she like goes off to her hot cop, and then turns out she's still at the house. I was like, no.
Yep.
But I feel like that's such a big trope in like supernatural movies. Even like The Nun, spoilers in The Nun, she like freaking uses the sacred blood of Jesus Christ, the actual blood of Jesus Christ, to defeat the nun. And then, no, it's in the Frenchman still, like the evil nun.
Yeah, that was kind of lame. I really wish the blood of Jesus Christ was more powerful.
Yeah.
It's only a rare magic item. No offense. Okay, I'm sorry.
That's so funny, wait. Also, I do have the tree eating the boy. It just is so goofy. Like, it really took me out of it. I didn't really like it. I felt like the movie could have done without it, too. Like, I don't know that it added anything other than just being silly and goofy.
Yeah.
Okay, what about the spooky?
Oh, wait, so my bad. So
it's your turn for your bad.
I don't think there's anything super bad about the movie, actually. I actually kind of like the comedic, you know.
Yeah, no, I love the comedic.
Super big.
Like that.
I like the over-the-top stuff. I think it adds to the comedy sometimes. I do think, though, that at least watching it in 2024, the movie can be a little boring at times. There's just something missing that I'm not sure what it is. It's interesting in so many aspects.
Yeah.
But, you know, I found my attention being grabbed by other things when I usually... That doesn't happen with scary movies. So, I don't know. Maybe it's because of the PG rating. It could have been a little more intense, maybe.
Yeah.
And so, like, it didn't quite capture my attention the entire time.
We need more skeletons.
That's what it was. That's what it was. It needs more skeletons. So, what about the spooky? So, the movie isn't really that spooky, in my opinion.
Yes.
The scariest part is the American colonialism metaphor and allegory.
The scariest part is the Reagan jump scare.
Reagan book jump scare. No, it's so the one thing that did scare me, it actually legitimately made me jump, was when the mom has like the rope, like they have the rope or something, and then the big skeleton comes out of the closet, just and that was a little bit of a jump scare for me. That was good.
So that's actually, I forgot to mention it, but I do have that under the bad, is that it didn't really scare me, but I can appreciate the film. But I don't know, like in my head, it's just so much more comedic than scary. So I was never like truly in it enough for me to like get scared. Which is fine. I enjoyed the film. And I definitely like think it has to do with the fact that I watched this movie in 2024. I think it would have had a completely different effect on me if I'd watched it when it came out in the 80s. Also, like, whenever she goes in to save Carol Ann, like, that's scary to me. Like, a mother's love. Like,
you're going into purgatory to save your daughter.
Your child. Like, man, like, that's scary. That is scary to me. But
so legitimately, I would go into purgatory to save Brian.
Aww. Okay, that's really funny that you said that, because I was just thinking how I would go into purgatory to save one of my cats.
Yeah, Felix.
I'm
Felix
so sorry. Look at it. I would absolutely go into purgatory for you, but my initial thought was my cats. Like, if Olive Garden, the Beast is holding Olive Garden, my cat's name is Olive Garden. But the Beast has got Olive Garden, or the Beast has got Papaya. Like, I'm going in there. Like, but
no questions asked.
Because
would I go in for Felix?
Olive Garden would not fall for it. She would not fall for the trick of the Beast.
Yeah,
Papaya
I feel like
absolutely would go into the TV. I mean, that little
Papaya
girl, that little cat.
She's like lights.
Legit.
Felix would thrive in what's purgatory. Felix would thrive in purgatory. I think he'd be fine.
I think Felix would be fine. I would also go in for Dozer or for Daisy.
I love your dogs.
They're so sweet.
I would go in for Dozer because Dozer's baby. Daisy.
I would go in for Daisy. I love Daisy. You know I love Daisy.
I would hold the rope for you for Daisy.
Oh, thank you. She's such
I love Daisy very much. I would do anything for my pets.
Oh, we were watching movies one time and she was just on my lap, just like sneezing over and over again. It was so funny.
It's because she's upside down.
Little baby.
Oh, okay, so let me move this freaking mic. I swear to G. Okay, I'm just gonna hold it for the rest of because this is way more comfortable.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's rate this movie. Let's rate this movie.
Solidarity. Let's rate.
Okay, so let's rate this movie in numbers of actors' skeletons that would pop out of your hypothetical pool.
Okay. Do we have like a out of so many?
Out of so many, let's say out of 100.
Out of 100?
Yes, 100 skeletons potential. How
large is this pool? This is an Olympic-sized pool.
Literally, it can be as big as your imagination allows.
Okay, I would rate this movie out of 100. Out of 100 skeletons. I would rate it 85. 85 skeletons popping out of my hypothetical pool.
Okay. So how many? You know, it's really tough rating this film because I really do love this film, but again, it's just a little boring at some points. There's nothing wrong with the film. Like, I cannot think of one single thing that I would honestly change, except maybe the intensity / PG rating.
Yeah.
I would agree with you. I would give it an 8. Oh wait, no. We're skeletons. Wait, whoa.
Yeah, you have to
rewind.
Do the conversion.
We have to do the conversion.
Units. Come on.
I'm a Spanish teacher now. I literally forgot all math.
All the units, all the physics, the chemistry.
No, 80 skeletons out of 100 potential skeletons coming out. Yeah. So those 20 skeleton actors can rest.
In peace.
In peace. Yeah, correct. So now let's see if Letterboxd agrees with our ratings. In this section, we read memorable Letterboxd reviews that are interesting, especially insightful, or downright hilarious. So I pulled it up a little bit, and
okay, sorry.
I love
my computer has not been charging the whole time, and it was just like, we're gonna shut down, and I was like,
oh,
do not shut down.
Negative,
do not shut down.
Negative.
No, we're good. I think
we're good.
The block wasn't plugged.
Oh, okay, but you plugged it in.
It wasn't plugged in all the way because I plugged in before we
started. Yay! Technical difficulties are so much fun.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
Okay.
So Shane McAvoy said, "Love the teenage daughter. She eats cereal and makes phone calls. Never once has a spooky ghost encounter. She's just at a party while her entire family is getting coffin flopped."
Wait, did you say
coffin flopped?
What? What does that mean? Coffin flop?
I kind of want to change our rating system to coffin flops.
Wait, no. Yes.
How many coffin flops would you suffer
out
for
of
this
10?
movie?
Yeah, 8.5 coffin flops. Like,
yes, wait, 8 out of 10 coffin flops.
That's so good. Sorry, I'm gonna pull up Letterboxd on my phone.
Oh no, you're good. I really love this one too by Demi
Moore.
Demi Adejuyigbe.
Oh.
Hopefully I said that right. No sympathy for this family. Buy the ghost insurance next time. Buy the ghost insurance.
Do you think Progressive has that?
Let's see. This one person kind of makes a good point. Cheesy, I used to think it was spooky. Cheese, I used to think was spooky by Nick. Give it 2 stars though.
Aaron,
2 out of 5. That's not. No.
Aaron gave it 4, and it says watching Jo Beth Williams as a super hot mom smoking pot was like seeing a glimpse into my future.
Oh my god! Yay! Good for you. Hope you live your best life.
I never would have stepped foot in that foot. I would have. Let me start over.
Yeah, what?
I never would have stepped foot in that house again after the first incident.
Hello.
But I guess I'm built to. If all my chairs are making a little pyramid like a cheerleading squad, like I'm out of there. Like that's so valid. Like
that's really weird.
Immediately.
I mean, I would, like I said, immediately call the Avengers of Exorcism.
Wait. Whenever Carol Ann, we didn't talk about it. Whenever she's like, they're here. I would have been peace. We're not. Yeah, they're here.
They're here.
Can have it.
We're not.
Let's go. Pack your bags.
Absolutely not. Which, by the way, to be fair, maybe that's false because one night, so we used to have these lamps that the way did I tell you this?
Yes, but tell it again.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell the listeners.
For the audience.
So we had these really cool lamps that were in the shape of a C, and the way that they would light up is it was like a magnetic switch. So you would prop this like little magnetic ball up to the one on the top, and they would kind of hang there. That would pull some kind of mechanism, and it would turn the lamp on. Mm-hmm. Okay, we're sleeping, and all of a sudden, this freaking lamp turns on.
And this is pre-Felix.
So
no cat.
No cat to turn the lamps on. But like the weird thing about it is the balls were like magnetically connected together. So something had to physically lift one of the balls up and connect them.
That's scary.
And I'm going to be honest with you. I thought it was Brian who did it because it was on his side of the bed. Yeah. But Brian jumps out of the bed like the fastest I've ever seen anybody do this, and stares at the lamp. He's like, it just turned on, and I was like, Brian, you turned it on. And he was like, no, I swear I did not turn it on. And I was like, well, then it's just haunted. Let's go back to sleep. And so now I'm like, I'm talking all this shit. Like, yeah, I'd leave immediately. But like, I was like unfazed by this completely.
I mean, have you ever been so like stressed or so tired where you're like, haunt me. Like, I'm so tired. I've got so much fucking work to do. Like, I don't care. Haunt me.
Haunt me. Yeah, that definitely was that night. I was I just rolled over. I was like, turn it off and let's go back to sleep. So, yeah. All right. Well, I think that about does it for today.
Yeah.
Right? Thank you, listeners, for joining us. If you enjoyed the podcast, tell your friends about us and share with them, like send them a little link or something, you know what I mean? And don't forget to rate us 5 stars in whatever app or podcast service you use to bring on the spooks.
That would be 10 coffin flops.
10 coffin flops / 100 skeleton actors
in your hypothetical
pool. Yes.
Please follow us on socials by going to scarymovienights.com. Our 2 most used social media platforms right now are Instagram and Facebook. So just search up Scary Movie Nights on either platform and you should be able to find us.
You can also message us through our socials or by sending an email to spooky@scarymovienights.com. Tell us what you think about the original Poltergeist. Did you watch it? Is it your thing? How many skeletons would come unearthed from your hypothetical pool? Let us know. My name is Joanne.
And I'm Mariana.
And thanks for joining us for another Scary Movie Night. See you in 2 weeks. Stay spooky.
Stay spooky.
Yay. Yay. Now I'm going to let this go.
Yeah, let it go.
This is.
Let it go
I need
and
a
let it be.
poltergeist to
We're gonna
like.
figure it out.
I need a poltergeist to hold this for me.
It wasn't doing it before. Okay, I'm gonna start recording.
I don't understand.
You
Okay.
did the